Have you have you ever read a student essay and thought this sounds a little too perfect? Don't worry, you're not paranoid. But instead of trying to play detective with just your gut, let me show you how the dynamic duo of writing analysis in Brisk and AI plagiarism detection in Grammarly will be your grading buddy, your superhero. Now, first, here's how I do it. I start off with Brisk, and I use their inspect writing tool. So once you've got Brisk installed, you come down and click this little icon, click inspect writing, and it's going to bring you up the version history visualization. What this is it shows you the student's actual writing process, what they actually put on the page. It'll tell you here in the left what time and date the writing took place. At that point, how many edits were made. So that could be adding a character, those sort of things. How long they've spent writing, as well as how many copies and pastes they put into the writing. Down here, you can watch it all happen. Down at the bottom, we've got our taskbar, which we can use to scrub the video. So we want to go back and look at this or look at that. So it really kind of gives you a good insight into the student's writing process. It also lets you see the copy paste. So I can see that we've got a large paste here, but you see that he just copied everything out of it and pasted it back. Now, this particular student I know uses Grammarly, so what they were doing is copying and pasting and going into Grammarly to correct some of their grammar issues. But you can see right here that this is where we've got a paste. You can also see the feedback that was given as it was given. So if I would have given the student feedback on this one, if this was something we were doing revisions on, I'd just come in here and I'd be able to see my feedback and then be able to see, did the student take advantage of it or did they just ignore it and move on? But you can see your feedback in there. Now that's great for kind of getting an idea, but you want to see if it was AI created, there's a button for that. You just click this little magnifying glass up here and it'll come over and tell you that AI writing, in this case, is unlikely. And it gives you kind of a display bar. Now, in order for this to work, I do need to warn you that the student has to share the document with you and you have to have edit access. This works perfectly for me because that's how I have students turn in all of their writing. I have them share the document with me, partly so that I can do this and partly because it just makes it easiest, especially if I'm wanting to give mid-grade feedback. So that is the Brisk tool. Next, we're going to talk about Grammarly's AI and plagiarism detector. So I do have Grammarly. You go and you just click on the little Grammarly icon. You come over to the bottom and say check for plagiarism in AI, and it's going to do a search of web pages, academic journals, all of that kind of stuff, looking for anything that's possibly copy-pasted from another source. And it'll come up in here right here and tell you if there was. In this case, there's no evidence of any AI usage. So it's coming back and telling me that it's good to go. Now, one thing with this is it really is about using it to have the talk. It's not a trap. You really can't use this as a punitive measure. You can only use this as an investigative tool. The reason I say that is just like generative AI, these two tools can make mistakes. Now, the odds of both of them flagging something as AI when it's not is kind of on the low side, but it is possible. So I always use this as kind of my kicking off point. So when I go over and have a conversation with a student, I don't lead with accusations. I just start off honestly with is there anything you want to tell me about that paper you turned in? I have found that most of my kids are going to outright admit that they used AI at that point, and the investigation's closed. For those that argue with them, I come and I show them this evidence. I go, look, here's you just pasting this information. You didn't write it in the document like you're supposed to. At that point, the few that remain normally will confess, and the ones that don't are the ones that are never going to confess no matter what evidence you have. But you're just building that case that you can show that this was most likely AI generated. So some comments that you could make or questions you could ask, well, you only spent 10 minutes on this. What was your process? How did you get it done so fast? Well, this section here was pasted in. Can you walk me through that? Sometimes it might be a legitimate source. Sometimes it's Grammarly, where the student, as I showed you, was copying and pasting out of Grammarly. So you want to look at that before you have the conversation. It works because it gives you a process insight. It lets you see how they were working, not just the final project. You can compare the student's writing level to the student's previous work. That's another way that I've been very good at catching students. Another way I've been good at catching students is asking them, because usually when AI generates stuff, they're going to be using words that these students would normally use. Ask them what those words mean. If they don't know, well, why did you put that into your paper if you don't even know what it means? You're looking at modeling some fair science, evidence-based integrity conversations. It helps you build trust and accountability with the students. If you want more real talk teacher tips like this, hit a like, drop a comment with your AI workflows, and subscribe for some weekly EdTech superpowers, no cape required.